You're standing in front of a saber-toothed cat. It's twice your size. It has teeth built to punch through bone. You have no claws, no fangs, no venom. Nothing on your body was built for this fight. By every reasonable measure, you should already be dead. So how are you still here? For most of human history, you weren't the hunter. You were the meal. Cave lions took you at night. Short-faced bears crushed skulls without slowing down. Dire wolves ran in packs built to exhaust anything slower than they were, and you were slower than almost everything. Your teeth are flat. Your nails aren't claws. You can't outclimb a leopard or outswim a crocodile. And yet, every single one of those predators is gone. You're not. That's not an accident. That's a pattern, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Start with fire. Not fire the tool, fire the wall. Evidence from a cave in South Africa shows controlled fire in use by early humans roughly 1 million years ago, one of the earliest confirmed examples anywhere on Earth. A fire at the mouth of a cave isn't just warmth. It's a line predators won't cross. For the first time, a group of physically defenseless primates could close a door at night. And once the door was closed, something else happened. Hours opened up. Hours that used to be spent surviving the dark could now be spent doing something almost no other prey animal on the planet had time for. Sitting still, talking, planning. Now add persistence. Humans can't outrun a horse over 100 meters. Over 20 miles, in open heat, almost nothing on land can beat a human. Your body sweats through bare skin instead of panting through fur, which means you can shed heat while still moving at full speed. Modern trackers in the Kalahari still use this exact method today, running an animal not to catch it in a sprint, but to keep it moving until its body simply gives out. No spear needed for the first 10 miles. Just refusal to stop. That's not a metaphor. That's biology weaponized. But raw endurance alone doesn't explain the next part. It explains how one human could chase one animal to exhaustion. It doesn't explain how a species with flat teeth and no claws became untouchable. For that, you need to look at what happens when the group doesn't leave someone behind. In the country of Georgia, at a site called Dmanisi, archaeologists found a skull nearly 2 million years old, belonging to someone who had lost every single tooth years before they died. No teeth means no chewing meat off bone unaided. In almost any other predator or prey species, that's a death sentence within weeks. This individual lived for years afterward. That's only possible one way. Someone else was softening food, sharing food, keeping that person alive long after their body stopped being able to survive alone. The same pattern shows up again with a Neanderthal skeleton found in Shanidar Cave in Iraq, a man who was blind in one eye, partially deaf, and missing use of one arm, who still lived into what was, for that era, old age. Injuries that should have ended a life instead got absorbed by a group willing to carry the weight. That is the actual weapon, not the spear. The willingness to keep the wounded alive. A predator hunts alone or in a pack built purely around the kill. Humans built something different. A group where weakness didn't automatically mean removal. That single shift changed the math entirely. A species that protects its injured accumulates knowledge those individuals would otherwise have taken with them. Every survivor became a small library the group didn't have to relearn from scratch. Then the tools caught up to the strategy. In Germany, at a site called Schöningen, wooden spears were found dating back roughly 400,000 years. Balanced, weighted, clearly built for throwing rather than stabbing. That's not a stick sharpened in a hurry. That's engineering, refined across generations, passed down deliberately. Combine that with fire, with endurance, with a group that doesn't abandon its wounded, and the equation flips completely. The apex predators of the Ice Age weren't hunting an easy target anymore. They were hunting something that remembered, planned, and didn't quit. And then the evidence gets even louder. Look at what happened to massive land animals across the globe. Mammoths, giant sloths, saber-toothed cats, Cave bears, again and again in region after region. Their disappearance lines up almost exactly with the arrival of humans in that same area. Not climate alone, not one single event. A consistent pattern, continent by continent, of megafauna vanishing shortly after humans showed up. The predators that used to hunt you started disappearing once you learned how to out-organize them. Here's the part that should actually sit with you. None of this happened because humans got physically stronger. You never grew claws. Your teeth stayed flat. Your body never became a better weapon. What changed was entirely upstairs. Being weak forced cooperation. Cooperation forced memory. Memory forced planning. And planning is the only weapon in history that gets sharper the more it's used, instead of duller. So the next time you feel a flicker of unease in total darkness, or notice how deeply comforting a small fire feels for no clear reason, that's not superstition. That's 2 million years of programming, still running quietly in the background. For most of that time, darkness meant something was hunting you. Fire meant you got to see the morning. You're not descended from the strongest animal that ever lived. You're descended from the one that refused to be prey, and built an entire species around that refusal.